Greetings. I've experienced lately a lot of job descriptions that just seem to fall short. And by that I mean, job descriptions traditionally include what people ought to be doing, what their responsibilities are, and oftentimes they simply look like a punch list of duties. And so what I'd like to propose to you is a different kind of job description. A job description that is more encompassing, that talks about not only what the duties and responsibilities are, but includes kind of a culture fit for the organization. And so I like a job description that starts with, what's the purpose of the job? In other words, for the person who's going to be in this position, what purposeful contribution are we expecting them to make to the company? And then from there, start to assess what are the duties and responsibilities, because that's still important. Those things of what do we expect them to be doing weekly, or what do we expect them to be doing daily, or what sort of things do we expect them to be doing occasionally? And then from there we talk about what sort of skill set might be involved to do that, whether that's education or job experience, etc. But I also think, and those are kind of the traditional things you find on a job description. But I think also you want to start to take a look at some other issues, such as the work environment that they're going to be participating in. Now, I know that some of this may sound strange, but one of the great questions that I like to ask is, what does successful completion of your job look like? Here's an example of a story. I had someone who hired a salesperson, and their job description included such things as they needed to make X number of phone calls a day, and they needed to make X number of client meetings a day or a week, and et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. And after a 90-day period, the manager came in and wanted to share with the salesperson that they were going to let them go because they hadn't met expectation. And the salesperson said, well, what do you mean? Here are my logs. Here are the calls that I made. Here are the visits that I made. Here are the things that I've done. All of those things are what you said in your job description that you wanted. What they failed to talk about and make clear was, what does successful completion of those tasks look like? How many new clients are they expected to bring in? How much more revenue are they expected to generate? How much customer retention are they supposed to have? Those things that clearly are the mark of success for a salesperson, rather than just what are the mechanics of the job. I think there's other things that you can include in there as well. One of those is a description of the work environment that you're going to participate in. Like, for instance, on my job description, and I ask people, are they do they consider themselves self-motivated? Do they like to work alone? And many of the questions that I include in my job description comes from my own experience of having to learn the hard way. Many years ago, I had someone who worked for me that ran my office, who I just really, really appreciated and was very good at what they did and were very successful. And they had come from a large office that they ran. And when they came to work for me, they did a great job. And after about 6 months, they came to me and said, I don't think I can work here any longer. And I was really disappointed, and they seemed disappointed, and I asked them why that was. And what they shared with me was that they had come from an office in which there were dozens of people, and that they were really struggling with spending most of the day being alone. So those are the things that I think are important to talk about when describing not only the business and what you expect to have happen, but also the nature of the environment in which you occur. Here's another example. I have a client, much like myself, that we have a pet-friendly work environment. So unless you let people know that they're about to get hired into a pet-friendly environment, it's always a real problem when they show up on their first day to tell you they have a dog allergy when you haven't expressed to them that there's apt to be a dog or two floating around the office. Once again, it may not seem like a big deal, but it's always an issue when it happens. Anyways, if you're wrestling with what your job description ought to look like or how best you define success in the workplace, I'd be happy to continue that conversation with you. Until next time, take care and be well.